There we go. Looks like we are live. Caught it right at the end there. I was getting the old spinny wheel of doom. So looks like we're up. Good morning, everyone. This is the Ground Truth, and I am your candidate and host of this, Tom Davis. So, hey, if you will, drop the comments. Let me know you're in there. I'm seeing some folks up here on my screen, but we'll give it just a minute or two, kind of let people work through any issues that we have. While we're doing that, I will talk a little bit about the calendar, what we have coming up. Tomorrow we're still kind of working some of this stuff out, but there's a veteran pancake breakfast here in McMinnville. The First Presbyterian Church. It looks like we're going to go to that, and that will probably be there right at 7 when they open up. That's 205 West Main Street in McMinnville. From there, looks like we will be in South Pittsburgh for the Cornbread Festival. I'm pretty fired up about this one. It's come up a few times, or a couple times since I've been doing this, and haven't been able to make it down there. So I did get the 2-day tickets. So maybe Sunday afternoon we might make a run down there. But that's what we're shaping up for tomorrow. And then into next week, I think I'm going to go out to. Looks like I'm going to go out to Lawrence County. There's a opening of Strategic Healing that I think I want to go to. And then let's see, Tuesday. Oh, that one's off. Oh, it looks like Moore County. I may try and go out there. They're standing up a Republican Party there in Moore County, so I think I'm going to try and tie in with those guys. Then just some running around. Friday, May 1st, we have the Warren County Reagan Day Dinner. I will be speaking at that one. If you don't have your tickets, jump in. And then next Saturday, I think we're going to try and get to and that's the second. Oh no, that's actually in Morrison. I'll be hanging out there a little bit with my good friend Mike at that's the Morrison yard sale. Big townwide deal. So pretty big thing. A couple days worth out there, but Saturday we'll be on for that. So and probably Friday morning too, I think is what we said. So that's kind of that. Okay, as we kind of start getting into the program, if you will, some things we'll go over. I did pick up another endorsement, actually 2 endorsements. We're going to talk about the one right now because I haven't been able to get the other, or haven't received the logo yet to get up on the website. So I want to make sure I got everything dialed in before I start talking about the second one. But the first one is Chandler Hardwoods is the name of it. And I don't think they have. And what they actually are is a gun shop down in South Pittsburgh. So if you get a chance, go see those guys. And but yeah, so down in South Pittsburgh, it's Chandler Hardware, and they got plenty of stuff down there. If you're down there in Marion County or that area, go check those guys out and do the things. So, and then and the ones that I have had is in our tactical response up in Camden. If you need some firearms training, go see those guys up there. Let them know that I sent you. Doesn't get you anything, but they may say hi. No, there is a good crew up there. Solid training. And then Foghouse Firearms in Warren County. Go see Joshua and then the crew out there. If you're in need of whatever you need, they'll look it up. So there we go. So that's endorsements we're picking up. Hey, if you have anyone out there that you think may be interested in supporting me as a candidate endorsement, let me know. We'll go see or ask. Put them in touch, and we'll go out and do the thing. You can see my stances on things, especially as we're talking about the firearms training and just firearms in general. shall not be infringed. 1934 National Firearms Act, 1968 Gun Control Act are both unconstitutional. And all this trash that's going on, we gotta push back. Our founders did not drop the Second Amendment in the middle of restrictions on the federal government to say that, oh yeah, no, you can't, you as an individual can't own firearms. Ridiculous. Yeah, it makes no sense. Shall not be infringed is pretty clear. So that's where I stand on that, and we'll absolutely work to get those repealed, because that's how we do it. And then for confusion, sure, let's do a national reciprocity. Yeah, I mean, your driver's license is good in every state. Why isn't my permit good in every state? There we go with that. And then also in this for this episode, we're going to run through some comments and some questions. I do have 2 questions I'll start into here in just a second from the meet and greet in Warren County, the Warren County Republican women put that on. Thank you to them for doing that. But I picked up a couple questions there, and then we'll go through the comments on Facebook. Some of them are good questions. Some of them are just doing it for, I don't know, maybe entertainment value, because there's haters gonna hate, and that's what we got. So, and this is really about the only venue I'm gonna address that mess in, because that's just how I'm gonna operate. So there we go. Okay, so I will start to, why are you running, was the first question that I got written down on my cards from Saturday. So the kind of the upfront answer is it was calling to do this, and it was a process. And so to give you that process, and this is, if you're new kind of to the campaign, and to me, this is the second time of me being on the ballot for Tennessee's 4th congressional district. And so it started in actually May of 23. My VFW post was responsible for putting together and executing our Memorial Day ceremony at the airport here in Warren County. And they asked me to be the guest speaker, and I was honored to do so, and I did. And you can make your own speech, come up with your own stuff, or you can, the VFW provides you with a solid, canned speech, if you want to call it that or whatever, but they have that, already around for you. I chose to make my own. And if you all will remember the situation in 23, it was pretty rough. But so I laid out 4 different areas where we were struggling, and I offered up some solutions to those. And to me, what better way to honor our fallen comrades, and the fallen, those that have given, have the ultimate sacrifice, made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of this nation and our liberty, our freedoms, than to recognize what's going on and to have some solutions to it. So anyway, I did that. At the end of that speech, my state rep came up to me and asked if I'd ever considered running for office, getting into politics. My answer was no. Other than probably most of us, I don't know, growing up as a kid, like, I'm going to be president. As an adult, hadn't really thought about it. And so at that point started, kind of processing it. And I'm like, well, I should be involved. I put almost 25 years into the defense of the nation, and, swearing to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And, I'm still, I guess, relatively young. So started looking around at that, and I was doing a lot of firearms training. Anyway, looking at it through the whole process that year, and praying on it, and like, all right, what am I doing here? Where, kind of get in where you fit in, looking at how I was being represented at the different levels. And so the final decision, or, to run was, I don't remember exactly, maybe September-ish, October. October is when I announced. But I was at tactical response training. I'm pretty sure I was role playing for their force on force training. And anyway, one of the instructors up there, Tim Morris, had his saying at that point was, if you find yourself standing around looking at something and thinking somebody should do something, that somebody is probably you. So that was kind of the watershed moment, if you will. And I said I had been kind of looking around, and I got to the U.S. House of Representatives and Congressman Scott DesJarlais, and I was not super excited about his votes, about just how I was being represented. So I was like, all right, this is where I fit in. I will do a better job representing us here in the district and defending our God-given rights that are protected in the Constitution, which we're not getting a lot of, not only out of him, but just Congress in general. So started the process from there. And then, through that, obviously that campaign was unsuccessful in making me the Republican nominee. So, I supported our candidate through November, and then started campaigning again in November of 24, all through 25. I've still been out running around doing the things, and now we're back into more of our traditional campaign season. So that's the why, is it was laid out for me to do. So here I am running the race, and it has been impactful, I think, one on me personally, for some of the stuff I've learned and my eyes being open to some things. And to see our representative kind of defend himself on some things out there, and show up a little bit more. You see, it's election season, so you see a lot more posts from him now, or whoever he is doing his posting, versus even last year or previously. This is a guy that isn't in the district. So all right, let's get back to, so that's why I'm running. Is the calling, and I will do a better job than what we're getting out of Congressman DesJarlais right now. It's a lack of leadership that we have, what I'm really seeing up there. And he's trying to push on us like, oh no, here I am in my 8th term, and I'm finally the chairman of this subcommittee. So look at me, I'm running the gavel. Knock it off, dude. I mean, good job for, I guess, finally figuring it out. Yeah, but not impressed with his leadership, either formally or informally. Yeah, he just, anybody that is too scared to come to the district. That's one reason I've been given that he won't do town halls, or he claims to be too busy now that he's on the subcommittee. And then town halls apparently are some kind of Democratic trick or tactic, is what he said. Absolutely ridiculous. You should be in the district. Okay, so I'll go to this question now. So why are you running? And now, what is your opinion on FISA? My opinion on FISA is that's some more unconstitutional crap. And we've seen how it's been weaponized against we the people. Some very high-profile stuff. President Trump, back originally, the Russia hoax and nonsense, and yeah, FISA is horrible. And then also in that, it's using the government, weaponizing the government against we the people. I have every confidence in these. They can do their jobs with the tools constitutionally. They being, FBI, ATF, we should probably get rid of them jokers. But any of these guys, they have authority. Just go do the thing. If you get your probable cause, your reasonable suspicion, get your doggone warrants. FISA also allows our government to buy all this data that these civilian companies are collecting on us. And then they go through and yeah, if somebody wants to get you, they're going to get you. And it's ridiculous. That's not how we should be living. We're turning it into the police state, and think what you want. The controls, the levers are already in place to flip on and off access to our money in these banks. It's already there. We've seen some of this stuff, and we've seen it in Canada too. Not that Canada's the same. But if you think our government doesn't have these controls, you're wrong. And if you think they're not watching, again, and we do it to ourselves, all the stuff we post, it's just it's insane. But so FISA is a no go. That'd be a non-starter for me. And I understand now President Trump for some reason is trying to push the levers and like, yes, let's pass it, clean. No, 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 and no. FISA is doggone horrible. We got all these I mean, how many? I don't know. Just how many times do we have to see the abuse of power before we say enough? Go use the tools you have. It's not the federal government's job is not to make it easier for the federal government to do its job in those agencies. The job of our government, of our Constitution, is to protect our rights, our liberties. And anytime you hear people talking about, oh, it's for your safety, no, it's not. It's so you can control. That's what it's about. And that's something we've kind of forgot about in this nation and how we were, just the whole process of it. So yeah, FISA is a horrible, horrible idea. So there we are on that. So let's talk a little bit about things that are going on. The Farm Bill is running around. As I'm tracking it, at least it came out of committee. I have, in fact, let me pull up my researchers on this. We'll get into the Farm Bill, but you guys remember back 08 and all that's with too big to fail. And even now they're talking about Spirit Airlines. Why is our government like, no, if it's a horribly run business, it should collapse. But everyone was railing, or a lot of us were railing against the too big to fail stuff, yada, yada. And we bailed these companies out only to see them turn around and take advantage of we the people again, turn around and see their executives get bonuses, through that stuff. It's absolutely horrible. So that being said, we talk about the Farm Bill. Like I said, I'm pulling up some of my research on this. Where we go, there we go. Here's the deal. And kind of the bottom line up front is that this Farm Bill favors the large corporate farms. And why we do that, I don't know. So, a lot of I go to the farmer's market, and these folks, I guess next time I'll start asking, but my perception is these folks that are coming to the farmer's market, they're selling local. They're not shipping across state lines. They're not selling internationally. So why then do they have to comply with federal regulation? They should only have to worry about state stuff. But now they have to layer it down farther to, state, county, and deal with all this stuff. And if you take a look at some of the stuff we've regulated in the past, and try and twist it into the Commerce Clause, absolutely insane. To the point, and we've had the Supreme Court rule on this and get it wrong, talking about, no, you can't grow. The case is out there, but it was in the 40s, I think, or maybe even earlier than that. But anyway, the Supreme Court said, no, you can, well, they had restricted it to, you could only like this many acres you can grow for your personal use on your farm. And this one guy said, yeah, no, thanks. I'm going to go ahead and grow more. I'm going to do more acreage than that for my own personal use. And they said, no, the Supreme Court ruled, no, you can't do that, because that means you're now not buying off the economy, which, maybe somebody from another state grew it and shipped it in. Ridiculous. Again, go back to the founding of the nation. In general, a lot of it is self-reliance. And if you go by that ruling, then that means you should not be growing any of your own, vegetables or fruits or anything because then you're not buying it at the store. Same thing with homesteaders. We could, which is ridiculous. And now I kind of got, I don't know, just kind of interested. I don't, just in the distilling process, and what was driving it was fuel. That's another ginormous bunch of nonsense. But our petroleum, the scarcity of it, yada yada, and again, go look at how we became dependent on petroleum. That wasn't the original design, but we hit a point where petroleum was super available, readily available, easy to process, yada yada, and it just took over. It was a lot cheaper, and in a lot of places or instances, they took a loss to drive some alternative fuels out. The one of which being the diesel engine, and the diesel engine is named after the dude that invented the thing, because he wanted something better. And the compression engine, again, go research some of this stuff. But and then cleverly enough, petroleum industry named the fuel. So now we think of diesel engine. We think that's no, and it was actually originally designed to just run off like vegetable oil, which they can. We have that. In fact, I was looking at some stuff yesterday about our military, but a lot of it comes down to the cost. But they were running jets off of off of a vegetable oil. So, like, really, but it comes down to the petroleum industry has unfairly done some things to get us dependent on it. And are we going to need it? Always, probably, but it's because of greed, really, in my opinion, that they did these things. And really, there's enough out there. There's enough of a market for all these other things. Although I don't know, you start to the internal combustion engine, but yeah, I mean, because that was you look back at Henry Ford, and he designed them originally so that they could run off the ethanol, so that farmers could produce their own, and they wouldn't need to you could be self-sufficient there with your car and whatever. And then we came into prohibition, like, oh man. So I don't know that petroleum maybe had anything to do with that, but when they wrote stuff up, you couldn't do the distilling anymore. Which how'd that work out for us? Yeah, it didn't, if you're wondering. So there we go. So that's so we look at like the farm bill and too big to fail, but that bill favors our the big farms, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, why is why have we allowed the federal government to pick winners and losers, and made it so hard to for our local farmers to compete? And I applaud all of them that do. Every one of them I see out there at the farmers market, putting in the effort to do that thing. That's awesome. But they shouldn't have to fall under all these stinking federal laws. And if we are going to do it, let's at least write clear, concise language into these bills, so that we don't then turn it over to the USDA and they get to start going weird, getting crazy with the cheese whiz, and just making stuff up, interpreting it how they want to. And kind of one of this may fit into the farm bill. I don't think so, but it still comes out to the USDA. But over in Bedford County, with the Tennessee walking horses, this is another one. Are we better off almost 16 years later now, having had Congressman Desjardins in the mix? My assessment is not so much, and not really. He's put some effort in. I'll give him that, but he's not really willing to like fight it to try and fix this. And part of the fix is getting the industry together, and they are self-policing. They're cleaning it up, and everyone I've talked to has readily admitted to some some issues a lot of years ago. But they've been working to fix it. So we need to get clear this stuff up and quit. Just let's work on fixing it is what I'm getting at. Um, I don't necessarily have the fix, but I'm willing to fight for it to get the federal government maybe less involved. That's probably a better solution. So, okay. But again, I'll run through this a little bit about the farm bill. There's no real spending reforms. Um, they said to be budget neutral, but there's going to be no federal reduction in the federal footprint. They're just doing the shell game on us. Oh, look over here. So, and again, the subsidies. Why explain to me how it's good that farmers are dependent on the federal government. They, and again, I understand that, this different, but the same, the comparison to the banks. Because if all the banks fail, then what? Well, I believe in the free market and things would work themselves out. Might it be a struggle? Absolutely. But the government like trying to control all this stuff is a horrible idea. So maybe that'd open it up. Let's be a little more locally sourcing for our food instead of go back to the avocados. Why can't I get a California avocado? Why? Because our government has got in the way. Okay, so subsidies. Yeah, again, the federal overreach into state authority. Again, if you're producing something in the state, you shouldn't even have to bother with the doggone federal government. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's about controls. It's about taxes. Again, it's about a dependency on the federal government. Because again, if you're dependent on them, you're going to do what you're told, or they're going to take it away. So there we go. Yeah, and this is another one. So the pesticide policies. And this is another one. I mean, there are ways for these farms to go without all the pesticides. We used to do it. You know what I'm saying? But we're so worried about spraying the crops. Here you go with the pharmaceuticals and these pesticide companies. They lobby for it. Like, yeah, man, you must have this. You must have this pesticide on your stuff, or Anyway, it's a bunch of shenanigans. Get out. The states, again, if you're not, and a lot of this comes to, and even with this stuff, these doggone chemicals, man, it's coming out. Open your eyes. These things are no bueno, as they say. Yeah, again, we're growing grant programs. This is where our food stamps fall into it. When this one. And my position on the food stamps is we should cut it out. You can't tell me, where's my book? Someone pick up your large print version of the Constitution and show me where the federal government is responsible for this. The answer is it's not. If states want to provide this and it's within the scope of their Constitution, then that's fine. And the perfect example of this is last year when we had the government shutdown for what was it, 43 days. Nobody starved, and in fact, I think the systems in place were better. The local communities, the churches came together to make sure nobody went hungry, and much more effective and efficient. So again, it's about control. It is absolutely about control. And again, you saw the behavior of people. Like, oh my gosh, if you can go steal some crap, go get a job and work for it. And again, that advantage back to large scale agriculture, not a fan. So, and I do stand with the farmers and ranchers, but I'm not going to support legislation that expands federal government control or intrusions into our lives. And the less money that we send to Washington, especially for stuff that is not constitutional, the better off we are. So there we go. There was one thing going around out there about that it would make it illegal for dogs to hunt. I didn't see this in my research. Um, it is definitely incumbent upon us if we're, to go back and look at some of this legislation because our legislators aren't doing it. These guys, um, I heard, was talking with a gentleman about our representative, and his name was on a red flag law that was going through Congress at one point. And he didn't even know it. I mean, he corrected the problem, but this is just like with us in, here in McMinnville, for him to be like, hey, I didn't know that VA clinic was closing. Well, really? Why did you not know that that clinic was closing? It's because you're not in the district. You're not involved. So that's where we are with that. So, okay. All right. I think at this point we're looking to be about halfway through. Let's start talking about, we get it pulled up. All right. Hey, and I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to address like every comment. I'm going to address some of them. But some of them I won't. And some of these are brand new. I haven't even looked at them. I'm seeing, a couple from today. So I'll start going through it. And this is comments off of my Facebook, the Tom Davis for Congress. So I'll look at this one, and go back to it. Some of the stuff is just, that one. This one I got, and this was off of one of my videos. Dave Clark tells me not from your state, but wish you all the best. Thanks, Dave. I do appreciate the comments that come up on there. This one should be good. Steve Durham. Hopefully all these run together. Okay. So, and this is, about my town hall today. That's what this post is. One of the deals I did on that, which, I guess he's not tuning in. He just likes to come up and, I don't know, whatever he's doing. But my man Steve tells me, people like you are dangerous. You sit in a house while it's burning down. Huh. Okay. There are benefits to fiat currency. Can't steal abstract wealth. Yeah. Okay, there are. I mean, I'm not going to agree with the abstract wealth, because yes, you certainly can look at all the taxes, and you're still taking, whether it's backed by gold or whether the petrodollar, you can steal through taxes, which I'll touch taxes real quick. 16th Amendment, horrible idea. That one should be gotten rid of, but it won't be. So in lieu of that, it should just be, and let me explain, my flat tax is you should be on earned income less than 10%. On invested income should be less than 5%, in my opinion, to be taxed on it. And then why people are getting taxed on Social Security is ridiculous. Let's see. So, and this is another one. I think, I'm just seeing this one and this is all Steve Durham. Mrs. was a bitter man after Hitler seized Austria's gold. Nobody plays by rules. His economic theory of a gold-based currency didn't factor in the ease of theft of gold. He also pushed for minimal military spending in spite of all the signs of looming war. You like him? I don't know that I've heard of him. Let's see. Like I said, I'm not going to look it up real time right now, but I'll take the note on that one. But I'll look it up. Steve, if you're out there, you see this, you want to clue me in a little more. And if my stance on the military spending is we're spending way too much, absolutely over budget. We spend on a lot of things that we shouldn't be spending on. For example, Ukraine, for example, Israel, for example, I think that comes out of the NDAA, but all money to Africa, money, for AIDS, ridiculous. Let's turn that mess off. Take a hard look at what we're doing militarily. And take a look at the battlefield, what it is, growing into, and let's put the money where it belongs, in appropriate places. And a lot of that is with our personnel. So yeah. So to answer, you like him, which I'm getting, I don't know, you talking about Hitler or this Mrs. I don't know. No, and to answer the question, not really a fan of Hitler, but there you go. Okay, so that's all we have on that one from my man Steve. Oh, here's Jacob Anders came up again. Okay, which why he's this is okay, and this is another one announcing today's. Jacob Anders tells me Rocky actually tried to help me when I was falsely arrested. Okay, good for him. You getting falsely arrested, let me say, it's not a me problem. I don't know what you expected me to do to help, but there you go. Good for you, Jacob. That Rocky will help you out. Okay, this is Mark Jones, and he's got the little meme there talking about it's a dude in a red hat says, "See no crimes, hear no truth, speak no facts." And Mark Jones tells me, "You lying, traitorous, dumb fucks, wake the hell up and read some damn history. For over 50 years, the fascist GOP have been the party of contrary corporatists, delusional, lying, moronic, regressive fascists, and now Christo-fascists." I guess let's make up some words. I like it, man. Let's keep going. The criminal fascist GOP are literally devastating the health, education, and welfare for everyone through Project 2025. That is, except, of course, the rich. The fascist GOP have also broken almost every department of the federal government. Right-wing conservatism is a cancer on all democracies and societies. Well, Mark, I got to tell you, dude, we unfortunately, part of the problem is we're operating more like a democracy than a republic, and I much prefer a republic. In fact, everyone's have you read the Constitution? A lot of this stuff you're even talking about doesn't even the federal government is not responsible for per the Constitution. So I don't know, dude. I hate it for you. And that's what is fascism. I kind of don't think at least portrays the fascism. I mean, we are seeing it from both sides. Anytime you want this government control, you want the government in charge of your healthcare. That's a horrible idea. That's fascism. Because again, they control it. Same thing with your retirement. Is it really? How's that worked out for us? One, and I'm specifically talking about Social Security. It's unconstitutional. We can't just yoink it from people, but we need to get the federal government out of it. Same thing with healthcare. Show me in the Constitution where it's up to the federal government to do this, and it isn't. It absolutely isn't. We've forgotten a lot of individual responsibility for ourselves in this. So I don't know, Mark. If you're, and again, we have the freedom in this country to go. If you want to live under communism, go somewhere else, dude. This is, I mean, I guess, or like you're doing, and I mean that's well thought out. The name calling and typing in all caps, so I make sure I know you're screaming at me. Okay, great. But I don't see you here on the live stream wanting to have a discussion. I don't know. You're angry because the media has told you to be angry. And then making up words, Christo-fascists. Okay. I don't know. Can you use that in a sentence? Yeah. It's just, and look at the history of the parties if you want to talk about parties, and that's coming out now. Another one, the Southern Poverty Law Center, working for the Democratic Party, to continue to perpetuate all this stuff you're talking about. Did we didn't get races in here, did we? Oh man, you left that one out, dude. Yeah. maybe I don't think I'm the one that needs to go read about history. I've, actually, I'm more informed now, and unfortunately, I feel like the guy in the Matrix. Like, just plug me back in, man. But you can't, and it's I'll stay in it. Okay, so there's that one. I think I've talked enough about that. Oh, okay. That one. Oh, wait, here's another one. Steve Durham. Apparently, I'm Liz Cheney light. I don't know what even does that mean. Here we go. So again, and these are all. Oh no, there's okay. There are some other ones on this one, and this is about the VA clinic closing. A posting I did on that, or a video I did. So my man Steve tells me first, yeah, Liz Cheney light. Okay. And then Steve Durham again tells me the establishment line of thought in the Republican Party before Trump is who you represent. Scott ran the best grassroots campaign I've ever seen. Next to meeting, I'm just reading the thing. All right, I'm not. I know both districts well. The VA medical side needs abolished and vet get Medicare. I'm going to tell you right now, I can kind of agree with you there, Steve, on the VA. But Medicare is not the answer for the vets. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea to me. So, then Steve tells me, I am not a Christian like you. I admit I'm still in the flesh. I don't think I've said I'm not in the flesh, but okay. I embrace it. Oh, so all right. So you're embracing the flesh. All right. Well, there you go. Scott has did a job as anyone, and I've cussed him out a few times. Can you take a cussing from me? Scott isn't all that what you say. The VA needs abolished. As far as healthcare, I'm who doesn't know that. Okay, let's unpack this one a little bit, and I'll start with the question: can you take a cussing from you? The question there is, will I? And the answer is no. We can have a discussion, Steve, but and I see you're not on the live stream here, and I put this. I've been doing this for a minute now, but if you think you're going to stand there and cuss me out, you're wrong. Again, we can have a discussion, but you're not going to stand there and cuss at me. So, can I? Yeah, I've taken my share of cussings, having served almost 25 years in the Army, worked in law enforcement, different places. But no, dude, you bumped your head and lost your mind if you think I'm going to stand there and take a cussing from you. So you act like an adult. We can have discussions. If you act like some kind of unhinged lunatic child throwing a tantrum, yeah, no, dude, we're not. I'm not going to stand there and take it. I mean, if that's the kind of rep you want, that'll stand there and let another citizen just berate them and cuss them out. Yeah, okay, then yeah, I'm not your guy, because that crap's not happening. And then he says, I remember when your side trashed Scott when he ran against Lincoln Davis. Lincoln was a POS. He had loved children. I don't know a male Democrat that's a real man. I think, and this is, I'm kind of going backwards, I guess, on this. But I think, Steve, you were confused. I did reply to this more than just, thanks for the comment. I think Steve was confused. This is a Republican primary that I'm running in. I have never been a Democrat. Never. That's never been a thing for me. So as far as the stuff, Lincoln Davis, I don't know. I've said several times, 2017 is when I got here. So Scott Desjardins was my rep already at that point, which is part of the dang problem. This is 8 terms for him. So I don't know. I don't know. I've got friends that are Democrats. I graduated with one. He seems like a real man. I don't know. But again, we get on a keyboard and we just want to, be weird about things and say, I'm tough. I'm going to cuss you out. Get out of here, dude. And so I did reply on this one. And I said, Steve Durham, my side. So Republicans trashed him. Let me help you out here. I am running in the Republican primary. I would encourage you to do at least some research on a candidate, unless, of course, you're attempting to confuse the issues and cover the poor representation we are getting. Thanks for the comment. Then he tells me, or this is before he tells me, you don't know Jack. Hey, and most of these, I'm going to tell you, I just say thanks for the comment. I'm not going to, again, you guys going to, get behind the keyboard and act tough. Yeah, that's good for you. And then he asks, why do people 23 years old on SSDI get easier access to healthcare than vets? This guy is a loser. I'm assuming you're talking about me being a loser. The answer to that question is because our government has set it up like this. And how do we get it to change? You send different people. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, there's 2 more replies on this one. Let's see if I can get them. Oh yeah, all right. He just tells me shut down VA medical. Okay, well, here's what is your plan then, Steve? If we shut down? Oh, it was getting Medicare. No, that's not happening. I do say it should not be as hard as it is right now for vets. My idea or thing for us as veterans is just a health card. And then you go wherever it should. I mean, at this point, you should be able to carry your data on there. And really, a lot of this is kind of specific, I guess, for dudes that travel a lot. So your younger vets, because right now it's a process. If I go to outside of my area to a different VA, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. But a card, hey, like, all right, I'm if I can get an appointment here, I go see these people, especially ER, and then they go through the process, bill the government at the going rate, right? Whatever the free market has established. Because I think we'll see if we get government out of our healthcare, that prices will go down. So there is that. Yeah, shut down that. Here's one. Let's go to, I think this is, all right. So this is Harrison Todd Wilson. He has absolutely become a placeholder and seat warmer. It speaks volumes that he voted against revealing the congressional recipients using taxpayer dollars to make sexual misconduct go away. He has never engaged with those he represents and has taken the seat for granted. I fear the average voter will reward him only for name recognition. Our primaries have incredibly poor turnout. Yeah, I'd say you're pretty spot on there, Harrison, and I appreciate that. Just like our man Steve, like, dude, go look at this guy's votes. He voted yes, transgender affirming care in the military. Again, voted to send that House resolution over to committee to die, which again speaks volumes. That means he's okay with the sexual misconduct and worse, the covering up of that misconduct. And again, with all the stuff we got going on right now, where are these guys screaming about due process? Where are these guys screaming about the victims? Yeah. And this stuff is being hit on these guys because it's political leverage. So just be a reasonable human being up there. Yeah, just act like you got some doggone sense, man. And then Jamie Justice Lemons comments, we need new blood in Congress and you will have my vote. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm 66, but I'm tired of people getting elected and forgetting how and why they are there. If Congress won't pass their own term limits, it is up to us to do it for them. Time to evict the ineffective and send them home. Absolutely. I'm on board. And I thank you for that. Fair enough. Connie asks, please state his name for the uninformed. And I did. I replied on there as Scott Desjardins. Again, a lot of this is just about leadership, and whether you're the Army shows us 2 types of leaders, formal and informal. And just because you're not the Speaker of the House doesn't mean you can't be a leader. And just because you are the chairman of a subcommittee does not mean you are a leader. It means you're holding a position. And if that's all you're going to do with it, which is all we're getting right now, I'm tired, and I support the America First agenda. But I'm not, Trump derangement to the other side that we cannot do he cannot do anything wrong. I will give stuff a little bit of time to play out on certain things. But I'm not just going to line up, like with FISA. No, absolutely not. FISA is horrible. So that's we again liberty. It comes back to liberty. That's the function of this government, is to protect our God-given rights that are protected by the Constitution. This Constitution is a limitation on government, the whole thing, and to lay out the contract of what they are supposed to do. And if it's not, and again, read the dang document. It tells us in there that if it's not expressly written there for the federal government to do, then it's up to the states or the people. But again, we get this misconception that the government should be doing all this stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it is not working out. So the alternatives. So the alternatives of this is at the local level. The churches and your county, your city, county, state governments take care of this stuff, because they are right there. These clowns in California and the nonsense that they have going on, we don't need it here in Tennessee, and we don't need to pull dollars. We don't need to be shifting dollars around to try to do. And I'll use the homeless as an example. How many billions of dollars has California spent on the homeless problem? It's worse than anywhere else on probably the planet. And so where does the money go? It goes into fraud. Same thing for the child care. It is not up to the federal government to take care of your kids. So and we've seen all the fraud that's going on with it. And I'm not, I'm sure it's happening in the majority of the states. We have two shining examples with a Quality Learning Center, and now where was the other one is showing up? The hospice care. Oh, that's California. It's like, are you guys kidding me right now? Just stop. There's a savings of taxpayer dollars already. Cut that crap out. And again, if the states want to do this stuff, or local communities, they are much better served to do these functions, helping people out that can't work. Because if you can't work, or if you're not going to work, then it's not up to anybody else to feed you. And I can have some empathy for you. I go to church, I tithe, and the churches support that and help people out. But the federal government, it's not a function of the federal government to do it. And when they get their grubby little paws into stuff that they're not supposed to be getting into, it turns out poorly. Pick a program. And when they've tried to control us. So that's that stuff. Let me see if there's any of these other ones. Oh, I am going to say, I did comment on this one, the Patriot Punk Network. If you're not, following him for stuff, oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Here's some more from Steve Durham. Maybe Steve was just having a bad day and he needed to unload on somebody. Okay. If you want to do the thing here on Facebook, that's fine. But again, don't think you're going to cuss me out face to face. That's not happening. Oh, and then he says, and this was, what was I talking about here? The student art in DC. Our rep's not doing that. And I can't even get an answer back. It's been like 3 weeks. In fact, I get off of this, I'll call up there, even though it's Friday. I know our rep is not there, but should have staff. But I've asked about this. So in the Capitol, in the little tunnel thing, I think there's 4 of our congressional reps for the U.S. House anyway that are not doing this. And what it is it's an art competition. The schools throughout the district submit their thing. You pick a winner, it hangs up. I don't know for how long, or any of the other details. But our guy's not doing it. And a lot of it, what it comes down to is if the rep isn't putting any emphasis on it, then it doesn't get done. So why he's not doing it is beyond me. Again, I've called up there. I can't get an answer. You watch this, you made it, all to the end here. Call him and ask, see if you can get an answer, and then let me know. Okay. So then, Steve asked me, can you define a woman? I have 2 daughters. I can show you a man if you want to see one. What are you even talking about, dude? At least make your And at least like I mean, I don't, if you're not going to be relevant to what the post is about, um, uh, I can show really, you, here we go. And this is, goes back into somebody, trying to, whatever, that, I mean, that's a threat if you want to be weak-minded about stuff. And, go ahead, Steve, get down with your bad self on the keyboard. Oh, and then it has to come back on the next one. I assure you, I can show you. I need to reply to these. Thanks for the comment. I had another guy that was doing some stuff like this, and he dropped off. And again, I do town halls. I go out to places. So Steve, if you're looking to come ask some questions again, and we'll have I'll have the live streams again. So you can feel free to jump up on here and ask some questions. I'm going to reply to him here. Thanks for the comment. Boom. Oh, and that was, on the one, whatever. I replied to one, but I told him, thanks for the comment. Very insightful. And I did like insightful this way, not insightful like start a riot or something weird. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, there you go. I think I caught all of those. And then, can you define a woman, Einstein? Yeah. I don't know. Haters gonna hate, I guess.
But then to be displayed
No.
by our
this all over the, I mean, oh my gosh, bro! If you're gonna come on here and this is, I understand a lot of this stuff is meant to divide us, and that was the other one before I got to this guy's shenanigans and hijinks. I was talking about the Patriot Punk and his deal, and look, he's gonna the LGBTQIA. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not trying to keep all that stuff straight, and I'll tell you why. Is because the whole point of it is a point of division or divisiveness among us to fight over. If you're gay, that I don't hate you. I will tell you you're wrong, but it's not up to me. You'll have to answer for that on the other side. And as a Christian, my religion doesn't, compel me to throw you off roofs or to execute you or anything like that. But on the other side of it too is like, why are we celebrating this? It's just, it doesn't make any sense. So no, I'm not gonna try and keep that straight. So it's usually LMNOP plus QRC. And look at how this thing has evolved. I mean, take a look at it. This deal has become, and they'll eat their own. I mean, what's that last year? And we're coming up to it again. We'll see how it plays out. But in France, for this pride nonsense, the lesbian group was told they could not participate in the parade because they wouldn't let the trannies march as women. You're not a woman. If you're a man, if you're a dude, you're a dude. I don't care what you do. You're a dude. If you're a woman, you're a woman. I don't care what you do. That's how it works. But so that, understand, if you take it as a personal attack, there's nothing I can do for you on that. But just understand that that's the reasoning behind it is I'm just not going to keep up with it. I'm not going to play into it. It's a tool used by those that really don't care about you. And again, as we go through this and talk about some groups, everybody's been persecuted. Everybody's come under some stuff, whether it's, by design or, not, or, I mean, just let's open our eyes is what I'm saying. So, okay. Awesome sauce. I do appreciate your time, your attention. If you've made it this far, hey, if you would do the things, likes, comments, as share it around. And I think I'm just going to keep Friday mornings going. So the next one will be on the 1st of May, which is also the Reagan Day dinner in Warren County. We already covered that. So again, 8 to 9. We'll see. We'll give this a little bit and see if maybe we'll mix it up and see if we can find a better time so folks can jump on here. But again, I thank you all. And again, we've got to replace these people and do better in Washington D.C. So. Yeah, in fact, that was one last little bit. I did see the approval rating for Congress is like the worst it's been like ever. I think is what it said, or pretty close to it. But we keep sending the same doggone people, thinking something's going to get better because our guy is always the best guy, right? No, I'm telling you, my personal opinion: 12 years, 6 terms in the U.S. House, 2 terms in the Senate. If you've been there longer than that, I mean, just go away. Go away. That's my call. So, all right, very nice. Until the next one, this will defend. All right, this is me trying to shut it down still. Where's usually it's got my little shutdown button. I'll give my okay, this is fun. Oh, there it is. All right, we're ending it now for reals. I found it.